What's up, everybody? Internet friends all around the globe, mostly United States and Australia. TeeJay Felony is live with a special edition of Felony Talk. I'm kind of in between projects here on YouTube, but something has been happening the last couple days that I just had to get, documented for reasons down the road, and just because people need to see that what is going on. This is some of the wildest shit you will ever see, and it's stuff that people on UFO Twitter like to deny exists. They like to deny this stuff is happening. And I'm gonna go ahead and break it all down. I'm gonna do something I typically don't like to do, and tonight I'm gonna go over DMs, a history over the last 2 to 3 days of DMs with me and another account from UFO Twitter called Full Stack Logan. Goes by Logan Black. And we've been going back and forth in DMs for the past couple days. And what triggered this was a space. I've talked about this openly in the over the last couple days. There was a space I joined where I tried to be cool. I went in, I didn't bother anyone. It wasn't recorded because these people typically don't record their spaces for this purpose. And it was hosted by Marie. It was the Tupa crew mostly hanging out, but there were a couple people in there I thought I was cool with. I thought I was, but after joining, I immediately got started getting shit blown at me, and it was first coming from Chase, and that was fine. But then what happened is a guy named Estimate of the Situation. Oh, what's up, Broken Hip? Guy named Estimate of the Situation on a sock, because these guys are always on socks, called UFO Mean Girls or some shit. He started going, so TeeJay, why do you think there's CP rings on UFO Twitter? Why do you think there's CP activity on UFO Twitter? So I gave him my honest answer, which looking back, I wish I would have just said simply 3 words, newts for dudes. That's all I need to say. I talked about this space where you had 3 known members of UFO Twitter, a guy named Ricky Showtime, you had Kimball, and you had Somber, all in a space called Nudes for Dudes, and there was a photograph of a probably 3 to 4 year old boy with his underwear around his ankles in the comments. That's all I really needed to say. But a lot of times I don't come up with the right words at the time. I'm not the greatest speaker on the spot in these spaces. So what happened was estimate of the situation, fired in this space. What do you think this? Blah, 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 blah. And once I gave my answer, well, I've seen this and I've seen that. They all piled on and attacked me. And I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring up the conversation. I didn't bring up Full Stack Logan. But they baited me to talk about it and then attacked me when I gave my answer. Well, the very next morning, I have Full Stack Logan in my DMs. And at first, he's trying to be like nice and try to get me to come join all these spaces. He's always got these spaces going. And he's trying to play like the nice guy and bait me into these spaces. And I don't play ball. I tell him, dude, I've never joined your fucking weirdo spaces. I'm not going to start now. And then he starts to get frustrated and starts making threats. Uh, During Cambians, we're going to go over all that. You're going to get to see every DM. I'm not going to black mine out like Psych Ward Mike does. You're going to get to see every single thing I said and everything he said over the last couple days. And because I'm an open book, I don't have anything to hide. And I remember during Cambian's last episode, he was talking about the tactics being used to suppress the Kino Casino guys. One of the phrases he used is mafia-like tactics. This is like mafia shit, dude. these DMs, the crap this guy is launching at me, basically telling me that we can make UFO Twitter believe anything. We'll make them believe you're doing gay porn. It's mafia bullshit. It's extortion. It's insane how he's jumping back and forth from, dude, just come talk to me, bro. We just want to talk, to saying we're gonna tell everyone you're doing gay pee. He tells me at one time that there's a wealthy person paying them to come at me. It's just insane the shit this guy's been saying to me in my DMs. And like I said, I don't like typically sharing DMs. It's something I typically see as kind of, scumbaggery. But this group, some of these people, their whole existence is to destroy my, my channel and my progress and my growth, where it's to such a level that there is no honor or decency left. Like when they're holding spaces like this, um, you kind of eventually throw all those, well, I don't want to be a bad guy and show DMs, because I mean, all the rules have been broken. These guys breached my juvenile history because they couldn't find arrest reports for me. So they broke into my juvenile reports when I was a little hellion, 12 years old. Started trying to dox that stuff. Logan's doxed my full name several times, and this is very important. I have never broke 1,000 followers on Twitter or on X. A lot of that is I'm probably one of the most known names in the community, but this this UFO Twitter hate group, the gatekeepers, Logan, Panda Tupa, they intimidate anyone from being supportive or backing me. So people are literally afraid to follow me. So I've never had over 1,000 followers. My YouTube channel is creeping up on 100 supporters, and these guys are big accounts. These are the biggest accounts on UFO Twitter. Logan, I think, has 10 to 11,000 followers. Logan apparently doesn't bot like the rest of them. His account seems to be pretty legit, because he lives in these spaces, so it grows, genuinely. Panda and Tupa are approaching 100,000 followers, and they're spending all this time to, make sure my channel doesn't grow. False strikes I've showed several times. But the reason I got a lot of this shit up and around is because while we're going over the DMs, I'm going to resort back to some of this stuff and show it as proof of what's been going on here. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to jump over and start showing these DMs, which I'm telling you guys, this motherfucker is out of his goddamn mind. I'm gonna light this doobie. Um, Everyone that popped in, I see what we got, like 5, 6 people waiting for me to go. Um, I appreciate y'all coming in. If you want to hang out and stuff, please go subscribe, like, all that shit. Um, and if anyone wants support financially to me exposing and taking down the UFO Twitter gatekeepers that have dominated and suppressed and turned the entire community into something embarrassing to be associated with, if you want to help me shine a light on these guys and maybe, finally bring in some fresh ideas instead of letting these wankers dominate everything for the next 3, 4 years, you could support it buymeacoffee.com/TJ Felony. You can also support anonymously. Just leave your name blank. You got to put your email address in, though. And we're going to get over into this little makeshift lab thing I made. And I might be jumping back and forth. I wanted everyone to have a good, clean view of the DMs. So I made a separate scene. So here it is. And this is the first DMs right here. Uh, One of the things I did is I made a what up, Rotary? I made a um a video on InShot of the DMs, because I was assuming there's ways to delete your DMs so they don't show up. You can set them where they vanish after a couple minutes, and I figured once Logan knew I was doing this, he would probably try doing that. So I saved them into an InShot video, so I got them. They're mine forever. And yeah, we'll get ready to start going through it. And I'm just basically scrolling it slowly, and I'll stop and talk about this shit as we come up on it. And yeah, let me hit this doobie a couple times, and I appreciate y'all checking it out, even though I imagine probably three or four of you are the same guys that are been, dishing all this insanity out. So these first ones are the ones I woke up to that morning, where and I explained to Logan. I didn't bring it up, bro. Like I'm not looking to talk about this shit. Estimate threw it in my face and I gave my opinion, but he's saying he's saying don't be a pussy, come join my space, bruh. And he's got a space going here. And yeah, 'cause he pretty much always has a space going. And let's see, that the name of that space is the future of AI with Snuggles. Snuggles is this AI character that he basically just relies on to fill dead airspace, so he doesn't have to come up with ideas for these forever spaces. He can just kind of leave it to the AI, and that's Snuggles. Snuggles has spent so much time with these creeps that he actually has started to act like a creep because the AI algorithm learns from the people it spends time with, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. I scroll back up. Okay. Give me one second. So it says, I say you all. This is why. This is my answer when he's trying to get me to join that space. I say you all know how scummy that shit Grider did to me was. You're nefarious. Grider was in the space. He kept trying. He tries to get me to walk into these ambush spaces where it's like all my like firing squad lined up, and they're like calling me a pussy and stuff because I won't join. Like I haven't learned what an ambush Twitter space is yet after these years. And like I said, I'm not the greatest at talking off the cuff and, firing from the hip in these spaces, especially when they're all firing shit at you. So I just avoid them because nothing good comes of them, really, for me. They all just scream at me. If I do start making points, they just boot me or they mute me. But he says, "You're looshing off me." And I say, haha, that's why it's so weird for you and Panda be assessing over my content. And he says, every interaction with you boosts you up, and my account hurts for it. So that seemed to be what he was upset about, first off. And I explained to him, it's called punching down, bro. You guys are the big ass accounts. I'm a nobody. Like you don't really have much room to be crying. Like there's nobody is gonna feel bad for you besides the people on UFO Twitter that don't understand internet norms. But I said, that's why you guys are the lol cows because you're these massive entities and you're talking about me constantly. Like, look, holding these spaces all day. TeeJay sniffs rotary underwear for fun. Like, who the fuck thought that was a burn? But he says, I don't even know what that means, which I mean they're clueless. He does a lot of times I have to break things down for him. And I say you're holding entire spaces to dump on a guy who has never broke 1,000 followers. You were just flexing on it. And he said something about, did you listen to the space? And I said, Panda is at 60,000 plus, but can't come up with ideas for spaces. So y'all come pick on me, a nobody. That's called punching down. And this is one of those things where, like, I have to kind of break things down for them a lot. Where I don't know if they're just playing dumb or if they're, like, if they just don't understand. But these guys live on the internet, so how the fuck are they so clueless about this shit? Like, there's five of you, and you're all massive accounts, and there's just one of me. And so what are you all sweating me for? And it said, if you would have whatever this space, I don't know what the fuck, I don't care. I said, what space? I said, it's doing well. And then I said, this was the space, TJ Streams. I said, was it this space? And he said, yes, Panda makes sure to send everyone there. So again, they try to imply that, like, Panda is helping my channel. This is a big tactic they do when they come in at first, is they want to break me in. Like, bro, we'll push your channel. We'll retweet your stuff. Your channel will grow. But you just have to overlook the fact that I'm a convicted woman beater. And I won't do it. Like, I'm not budging for y'all. I'm going to keep exposing y'all. And you can just either cry about it or I don't know. But they keep trying to, like, think that I'm going to, like, eventually come around and join their little goofy crew. And I said, Panda makes you listen to my political garbage, and I did the laugh emo because he said, yeah, Panda makes sure to send people. And I said, y'all are weird. And everyone that I've ever clowned comes running. And he calls me retarded. And I said, most of them all did me dirty. That's what happens. You put my name in the title and harvest my drama. So I'm basically saying you're doing the same shit back, only I'm a tiny account. You guys put my name up anytime you don't have an idea for a space. And you harvest the fact that you've grown so much vitriol towards me that all you got to do is just put my name in a space like this. And everyone just comes running because for some reason, there's a good amount of drama skeezes on UFO Twitter that love just like watching a shit pile. Here's what this is they just playing my videos. Look, Logan's co-host. Well, he's not co-hosting yet, but he was, I imagine. That's all my haters right there. TJ streams being dumb. No UFOs, just TJ today. Don't worry, guys, it picks up. All right. So let's keep going. Uh, one thing I do, these guys, it bothers me when they unblock me and start jumping into my DMs randomly. I know how they move, and it's all manipulation and gaslighting and a lot of psyoping, a lot of fucking, peer pressure and manipulation, like I said. So one of the things I do is I spam them. I just spam dumb shit at them and I just send it rapid fire. And my goal is to get him to block me. That's what I want. Like when I'm doing this, when I'm sending goofy rapid fire shit, I'm trying to get Logan to block me. That way I don't have to fuck with it anymore. And I say, I don't hold pylon spaces. Even the one with KMF you guys cry about. We were telling that Lily girl she was crazy the entire time. So this is something that's relevant. Um, they often bring up this space where me and KMF were in there talking, and Lily, the good friend of Logan's ex, the one they're like best friends. They're both named Lily for some fucking reason, so it was really confusing in the early days. But she jumped in the space and she started talking all kinds of stuff about Logan and what was on the hard drive and blah blah blah. But she was being weird about it. She didn't seem very trustworthy. And me and KMF basically told her, like, well, either if you do have it, you need to turn it over to the police, or you at least need to come up with some proof. But they painted it like we gassed this Lily up. I think all my spaces are recorded. It's probably still out there. So here he is. I explained to him the we confronted Lily and told her we don't find you very trustworthy. And his very next message, you very obviously as a usual drug addict are a narcissist, making it all about you and how we love you and can't stop talking about you and obsessed blah blah blah, jacking yourself off in your own head about it. Whether the opposite is actually true, I'd rather never have to think about you, but because you can't keep my name out of your mouth and blah blah blah. Again, estimate of the situation is the one who brought this up. He caused all this. He's the one who. I got people in my DMs that were in this space. These guys do not record their spaces, all the way down to Ursula and Marie. They don't record their spaces. That way, you can't really go back and prove anything. They can kind of just pile on. That's why they're garbage too. Um, but they delete all their spaces. Mine are recorded. Mine stay up on my account. But there were people that told me like, bro, that was bullshit. I saw what happened. Estimate just fucking started barraging you about it, and you answered. They knew what I was gonna say. Like they knew what answer I was gonna give, and then when I gave my answer, this is why I think the UFO Twitter creates a friendly environment for that type of behavior. And I explained, the Nudes for Dude space and Logan and his creepy hard drive. They all just barraged and attacked me, but I didn't take the conversation that way. That's important, and because that's kind of sparked all this. We were talking about Nazis, actually, I believe. I was telling them how Goebbels was my favorite Nazi to do research on, and Chase was yelling shit about something about my channel, and then estimate of the situation started talking over him, asking like that's literally what went down. And I says, you guys have held two spaces about me in the last 24 hours, and I don't know. We'll keep moving. So after he said the drug addict stuff, let's see. This is me. This is me spamative. I said, let me go back a little bit because there was something I missed here. Okay. Um, yeah, I said most of them did me dirty. That's him. Usually, I'm as usual drug addict. And I said, you guys have two spaces in the last 24 hours, which one of them doxed my name. Uh, and then I say, can we get over it together? And I say, he said, sure, if you would like to, first we need to talk about this. And that's what I mean. Like, he kept trying to get me to come into this stupid space. And when I wouldn't join their dumbass space, it seemed to really piss him off. Dude, I understand that they're harvesting our luge. I'm not going to dance for these idiots. I'm not going to come into one of their spaces and make it entertaining for a bunch of morons. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. So I say I don't need to do anything. Like you telling me we need to talk. Like I need it. Yeah, but it's gonna go fuck yourself. I don't owe you people anything. I haven't done anything wrong. I stand by everything I've ever said. And I said, Panda really snorting Adderall on the reg. This is me starting to spam just to fucking bother him. Watch, because it's always off the wall shit. Honestly, I don't even think y'all even like each other. The way y'all turn on each other week to week, Somber, Grider, Kimball, Flippy Flop constantly. I wonder why me and none of my friends do that shit. Sometimes I think you guys are just jealous of a real friend circle. Is that a possibility? And then I said, like, who has your back on here? Fred Rogers? I know Heather prepared to attack non-cred for you. That must be fun. Panda, is that your bestie? Like they like to say that nobody likes me, and yeah, and, I have no friends. But I think the only thing that keeps them loyal to each other is that um, they're all guilty of shit. It's almost like you gotta have dirt on yourself. Said the truth is, Logan, I would take one friend like Vinny or LP over 50 Heathers and Carls any day, bruh. And then I said one Carlos equals 276 Kimballs and UFO shades. And then I said, I asked Grok. This is me just trying to annoy him. Like, dude, I'm trying to get him to fucking block me. Like, just block my account. And then I said, The loyalty of one rotary cancels out all of your phony friends. Like, snap. And then I said, you made that clip about the weird porn shit. Really, it was just an example of how fast you guys turn on each other. He said he always talks about assumptions, that I make crazy assumptions. Literally everything you say about everything is not true. And then he says, or mostly not true. He contradicts himself a lot too. It gets better. It gets going. Just a second. That says, why do you think Panda does this stuff? And I saying, you guys can't play me. And he says, I'm not really interested in conversing with you over text. I don't really do DMs for they want me to join their stupid space. I say, LOL, I'm just fucking with your head, bro. It's no thing. And he says again, I zero the watch it. Wish I wasn't forced to be subjected to it in spaces, but that is the extent. He talks like I'm this like that I'm making lives miserable on UFO Twitter. I'm not even allowed to participate in spaces. Everyone has me blocked. Like I have no followers. How am I bothering these people so much? I think the issue is they all wanted me to make a couple videos and they would all make fun of me. And the fact that they continue to kind of increase in views and shit, it's tripping them out. And I say, I'm an enigma. And he says, look, you should get sober. And I say, from what? Smoking pot? And then I said, Logan, can you tell me the story about passing out on the shitter when you were invited to the UFO nerd gathering? This is funny. There's a story. Mellow Demon was there. They all met at some little like nerd party. A bunch of people from UFO Twitter. Melodemon, I think not Spidey Paul, but Paul Vidal I think was there. And Logan was there. Well, Logan showed up and he was so fucked up that he immediately went to the bathroom and like nodded out. And they're all like knocking on the doors, like, what the fuck is going on with Logan? And these nerds knew he was all fucked up on something. And these clueless nerds on UFO Twitter, instead of just being like, bro, just go pass out on the couch, dude, they booted him. They made him leave. Like, you're on drugs. You need to go. Apparently he brought his dog and it peed on it peed on Mellow Demon's his guitar bag or some shit. So like he showed up all fucked up on something. It sounded like he was on like benzos, like Xanax or something. And he got booted from the little UFO Twitter nerd gathering. The dog pooped. I don't know, man. Whatever happened, he was fucked up, and the minute he showed up, he was told he had to leave. And that's the reason, dude. I understand people that have drug issues. Like I get that, dude. I'm a drug addict. I deal with drug addiction every day. These guys use that to try to discredit me or act like my opinion isn't worth anything because I struggle with addiction, and they all deal with it, man. That's why I say these things. It's not to make anyone feel bad about addiction. They all have problems just like I do. But I'm real about it, and yeah, they do this shit. So I said, how many different prescription drugs? All y'all were worst off. I said, all y'all are worse off than me. That's the irony of all of it. None of y'all believe anything I say, besides when it's an insane story I dropped to watch y'all about. There's like, Logan, you think I steal cars? Yes or no? That's one of the things they've told everyone on UFO Twitter, that I steal cars. And I asked them, like, do you believe it? Yes or no? Like, when was the last time you think I boosted a Kia? And then I said, Kia boy, shout out. I'm just fucking with him, dude. I'm just annoying him. I'm trying to get him to block me. So, Well, I'll just let it go because it's just me fucking with him. Okay, here we go. And I said, I heard you space swinging and talking about it. That's how I became. Oh, I brought up the space wanking and basically told him like, dude, and that was real, and you clown, tacked me over it. Dude was totally wanking in spaces. You could hear him. He accidentally was doing it on the mic. Everyone heard it. He talks about what. I don't know. He just always says I'm making shit up. The thing about the space wanking is other people on UFO Twitter, we were talking about it in spaces. Like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Why do we keep hearing that? But they're all too cowardly to say anything. They'll watch me get completely called a liar, but they all know. But that's besides the point. Logan can space wank if he wants. DSP did it, and I love DSP, so. Alright. Oh, that's the thing about being high. You don't realize how stupid you look to normies. This is Logan. This is him attacking me about drugs. I don't know how stupid I look to normies. Dude, I'm gimmicking you. Like that, it's amazing that you guys don't get that when I'm just trying to fucking fluster you and be annoying. Like, you think I'm actually being serious? Let's see. You just spent an hour talking to yourself. Get a grip. Also, I'm on the bus a lot of times when I'm doing this. So, like, I'm bored. I'm sitting on the bus, doing my routine for the day. So I don't really have anything to do. So I just fuck with people if they, try to DM me and or come back and intimidate me from speaking my mind. You're just a troll and LARP for engagement because you're a soulless piece of shit, and any remorse or guilt you might have had, you numb with drugs because you run from feelings, any kind of pain because you're a weak bitch who can't cope with reality. He says, you have zero evidence for any of the claims you just made against me. Okay, so I'll show a couple things about that. He, to me, this mugshot is evidence. He's a convicted woman beater. He pled no contest. This is the mugshot right here. This is kind of funny right here. This was Tupa saying the libs were watching this boxer. Remember the woman that was allegedly transgender that they attacked after the Olympics? Well, he was like talking about the libs and how they were cheering her on for beating up women. And I'm like, bro, your bestie is Logan, who is actually a convicted woman beater. Like, what the fuck? You hypocritical bitch. But this is his mugshot. And yeah, he pled no contest to domestic violence. Uh, I'll talk about it more. But he says you have zero evidence for the claims. You could have an actual ounce of decency and try and get some facts by asking the party directly involved whom you're speaking of, blah, blah, blah. So I've said from day one, this saga took place over like 2 weeks. There were several spaces where they were fighting. They were getting physically crazy with each other. You could hear scuffling, and then Logan would get back on his space and be like crying about what was happening to him with this girl. It was a very toxic relationship. And this shit was taking place in these UFO Twitter spaces. Like, he was making it UFO Twitter's business. What ended up happening is the relationship got so bad that eventually he went to jail. To me, it sounded like they were beating on each other. I've said that from day one. But I mean, so I don't know what he's saying. Like, dude, you got arrested. You have mugshots. Like, what are you talking about? How am I making things up? Let's see. You're just a maggot who gets off on putting other people down while trying to act like somehow you're above it all. No one takes you seriously. No one thinks your word is any good. No one thinks you're entertaining. No one thinks you're attractive. Wake the fuck up. This is one of the tactics they've been using is trying to convince me for some reason. Because it's important to go tell people that no one likes to watch your videos. Like dude, my videos are for my buddies, and people that want to watch. It's not really a big deal. But I said, gospel. My opinions are somehow gospel while you sit next to Panda accusing people of murder. You guys are determined to silence me, it's obvious. The only people I put down are you guys. I love anyone else. And that is the truth. If you see me on UFO Twitter, I get along with pretty much anyone who gives me a chance and isn't already, brainwormed by the Tupa crew. I go into these weird cult spaces and ask questions. I was in a space today with Game Tech. He's a MAGA, and dude, we went back and forth. No one gets into it. It's just these guys that are trying to dominate the narrative and cancel people in the community. They don't want to share. They don't want to share. And these are the last people that should be, deciding who gets over. And another thing that really bothers me about Logan and this woman beater thing is they spend so much time in these spaces. Dude, they'll go on for 3 nights straight. These are young women in there all night with the guy. I think they deserve to know. Like, I think these women and men, the new people coming in, they deserve to know who is a convicted woman beater, and things like that. Like, I think they have a right to know. This is why UFO Twitter is such a cesspool that's embarrassing to be associated with. You know? He says, "Let me ask you a serious practical question. Would you prefer?" Oh, okay, this is he tries to give me like some like ultimatum here. Like, would you rather me block you or would you try to come and be friends? And he says, which option sounds more reasonable to you? It's only by the grace of God I'm willing to offer you this kindness. So this is what I'm talking about attacking me viciously of threats and stuff, and then the nice guy, and then attacking, and then the nice guy. It's insane, bro. It's back and forth. It's been going on for probably close to a week now. And he says, "Okay, TJ, you're making allegations about this hard drive. Are you interested in finding out why I find it of value? Are you interested in the truth or just spreading slanderous lies? I can explain it to you if you have time. I'm going to be starting a space. You're more than welcome to join." So this is the second time he's trying to play nice and get me to join his space. And why this came out, this nice guy act, is when I gave my answers with estimate on why I think these things are going on UFO Twitter. Marie attacked me and said, "Well, if you think these things, you need to speak with an agency." So I've reached out to some agencies and I'm doing research on it. And when I explain that, like, well, why don't we just let these professionals get to the bottom of it? And maybe they'll find your hard drive, bro. Like, you want this hard drive back, they'll find it, they'll go get it from your crazy ex, and if there's nothing on it, you'll get it back, and everyone will be happy. But, it's. Not what happens. And he says, "You're making allegations about the hard drive," and they try to get me to come back into a space, and I just say, "Fuck off." That's all I say is just fuck off that time. He says, "Why?" And I say, "Because I don't trust any of you." This was immediately after I got ambushed in the estimate space. I was pissed off because I had just gotten unblocked by a few other people, and I joined this space, and these wankers ambushed me over Logan's filth. So I wasn't wanting to fucking hang out with any of these idiots. I don't ever hang out with them. So why would I start now? And I said, "You're human garbage." And he said, "You're the one spreading lies. What the fuck?" And I said, "You had 3 years to tell your side. Why now? What's different now? All you guys did was cancel me and block me and attack me if I joined a space. Whether I was no matter what I was talking about. I don't like talking about this shit. They bring it up. They weaponize it. And it's their fucking problems. Like how are they twisting Logan's problems to weaponize against me for talking about it? Uh He said, "You've been told many times, why don't you listen?" None of them have ever answered any of the questions I've asked. This is where I start firing the questions back at him. I know what you guys are into. I'm not retarded like the rest of these people. You doxed me so many times now. Go fuck yourself. And he says, based on what, though? You literally have nothing. What do you base these disgusting claims on? Dude, they're not disgusting or crazy claims. I've said from day one that hard drive was fucking suspicious, and I think there's illicit material on it. Like, get over it. You offer ransoms for it. And he said, "How can I dox you? I know nothing about you." I have screens of him doxing me. I'm gonna show it. And then I said, "Woman beating fuck stick." Apparently, I wasn't playing that morning. I think I was busy and pissed off. And he said, "Why are you so upset? I've literally never done anything to you." This guy has been attacking my channel. Dude, like, I've never done anything to you. This is just one of all these fucking false strikes. They've been striking every channel I put out, and they talked about in Cambian's episode how these legal charges and mugshots, especially involving women and children, are fair fucking game. And every video I make, they're filing copyright strikes and doxing me. But here, he's not doing anything. Here he is doxing me. Um, and keep in mind, this is a space. These are big ass accounts. So when he doxes me here, it's a lot different than my tiny little 800 follower account. These are the biggest accounts on UFO Twitter doing this shit. All right, and then I say, go play Jiggy and dox some more, you piece of shit. At this point, I'm pretty confident that Fred Rogers and Logan were running these Jiggy socks. I think Logan was using voice disguisers. He used to use them when he would creep in when me and Lilith would be holding spaces. We would have these little spaces back when we were friends. And Logan's obsessed with Lilith, the woman. So he would always come in on a sock with a voice disguiser, but they were janky and it would be cracking and you could hear him. And me and Lilith would be DMing laughing like, dude, this guy thinks he's fooling people. And he did it several times and developed this Australian voice. It was either Steve or Dave was the name. It was real generic. And then when you go over to the UFology SWAT account where Somber's fighting with Jiggy, it's the exact same voice. I think those guys, they created this Jiggy character. That way they could run around doxing all their enemies and they wouldn't ever have to worry about being held accountable for it. But that's what socks are for. You're never gonna prove it. It's just a theory. But I'm pretty convinced of it at this point. And also they were trying to convince Seamus the other day. Uh, Logan was trying to tell Seamus was the one that doxed him, and they know damn well that it had nothing to do with Jiggy. That kind of told me something too. It said, "You killed UFO Twitter and incriminated the entire community with your garbage. You, Shane, Panda, and normal guys like me and Klaus got destroyed." And he says again, "That's nonsense." And I'm saying, fuck off. I'm not joining your space. You can't talk about it like a man? Like, dude, these guys have done everything to destroy me over the past few years. Why should I join their fucking space? Even if like just be simply because they want me to for some reason. I don't want to give them anything they want. Fuck these people. But the reason they're trying to bait me into joining the space is because they have an ambush set up. And they're all waiting. They probably have some doctored clips, or they're gonna dox me again or some shit. And I say, I tried. I'm past that stage. I am taking to cybercrimes agencies now. Kind of funny now how you all of a sudden want to talk. And then I tell him, you and Fred killed UFO Twitter. Fred Rogers is the most vile motherfucker on UFO Twitter. And people need to recognize that. The Rogers coin scam was set up by Fred Rogers. This guy you're going to see here shortly. Um, Logan talks about a wealthy member of UFO Twitter that's paying them to come after me. It's Fred Rogers. We're going to see here shortly. He said, "You've had me blocked. I literally couldn't." Dude, fuck off. And I say you create an environment where Larry's are beloved, because the clip where he's hanging out with Larry, and he said, this is interesting. He says, "How so?" Larry was the guy talking about the 13 and 17-year-old incest being hot sex, and Logan was the only guy hanging out with him after that. And he says, "How so? They treat you like a dummy." Like, how so, bro? I never hung out with Larry. You were the only one hanging out with Larry. And then he says, "Why do you hold these weird beliefs?" What do you mean, weird beliefs? So I'm going to jump over here. Um, just a second here. This is a screen right here. This was when after Larry got called out for that space. I've documented in my videos where he was talking about watching videos and reading books and magazines about 13-year-old girls and how it made for hot sex. Everyone canceled him except for Logan. He continued to hang out with him, and this is proof. He's saying, "Somehow my space crashed. I blame Larry, but it's back up now. UFO Twitter." He was the only one letting Larry in his spaces. And what happened is when people would join these spaces and saw Larry was in there, they were reporting him because no one wanted the guy around. Logan was the only one still hanging out with the guy. But why do you make up these insane things? Dude, it's gaslighting, it's insult. Yeah, but you don't say why, and your claims are made up. Like, what the fuck, dude? What are you talking about made up? You and Morpho were the only ones that stuck up for that guy and hung out with him after that shit. Why not just talk to me about this so we can clear it all up once and for all and end this shit? Uh, I'll explain it later. The reason I don't want to just like make amends and end this shit is because my goal is to push these guys away. So, and it's not so I can start holding big UFO Twitter spaces. I'm not the one to hold ufology spaces. I don't know much about the topic, but there needs to be a new crop come in. These wankers that have been dominating the community for 3, 4, 5 years now, they all have filth, disgusting allegations, criminal records. They run rug pulls and lies and manipulations and psyops and Panda's gigantic Discord that creating blackmail files on everybody. These guys all need to get the fuck out of here. Dude, I would agree to leave with them. I'd be like, "Look, I'll deactivate and never step foot back on UFO Twitter if Shane, Panda, Tupa, and Logan go with me." Okay, he says, "Instead, you spent the last 2 years harassing me when I've never made one post about you. I've never made one post about you. I've held 2, 3 day long spaces, doxing your full name. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, you crazy?" I said, "Several people told me what was on the hard drives, including Lily's. And there's people telling me now, in my DMs. They don't want to be involved in this shit, but they're part of this Tupa Crew goon squad. And this weird porn phrase they use, they've said they've been sent this shit too. It's AI modified garbage, is what they are. A lot of it is. And I said, I trust them more than you. When UFO Shane got all mad at Logan and said the day after he went to jail what the truth on everything, when non-cred said he thinks he's the only one with the credible allegations against him, the Lily, the ex, him putting up the ransom and saying these people have my hard drive and think they have dirt on me. Yeah, I believe all them. I believe all them over Logan. And I say, you can take your harassment and go fuck yourself, pussy. I believe all of the information together, all of it as a whole. Larry, all of it. The fact he's a convicted woman beater. It's all together. Yeah. Shane said when he got mad what you were doing. Shane is right on the edge of being the savior of UFO Twitter. That's one of the interesting things about UFO Shane is he knows everything about these guys. They all got all this grimy shit on each other, and I think that's what keeps them loyal to each other. But UFO Shane seems to be a little different. And bro, you could be the hero. If you outed Panda for all that bullshit and broke the truth about what was on this hard drive and everything, all the truth about the monologue scam, Rogers coin, Fred Rogers. If you talked about the real Fred Rogers, dude, you would be the hero, Shane. So what the fuck? And I say, um, he says, let me you in on a secret. There's zero validity of any claim, so I can tell you as a owner of said hard drive, there's nothing. So all these people using words are liars. So right there, he admits that there's a lot of other people saying it, right? All these people using words are liars. That's Logan right there. So he's saying that there's a lot of other people saying this stuff. And I say I didn't bring it up again. Go listen to the space. Estimate asked me why. Blah blah blah. I'm trying to tell him leave me the fuck alone. And none of these people, including you, are going to look good when you hammer drops, having zero evidence. This is when he starts threatening me, and I have mountains of criminal slander from you. So this is more threats from him. He threatens a lot of lawsuits, slander. This is a situation I watched go down, and I give my opinion on it. There's no slander. People can take my opinion or leave it. Uh, so I answered, and you all attacked me for it, just like you retards think I'm on meth and blah blah blah. Attacked your stupid. I could understand if you had evidence, but you don't have any, so why do it? He's kind of mixing both of them, the woman beater and the allegations about the hard drive. I consider the mugshot and the arrest report evidence. That's proof. I don't know why he keeps saying that. There's no proof. You're convicted. You're convicted, bro. You what like how do you deny that? Then, or dox me from another account. How many times do you think you're doxed me, Logan? And then he said, this is why you can't reach an agreement with these people. He says, why would I ever dox you? I don't attack anyone. Why would I ever dox you, bro? I've never attacked anybody. Dude, I have screens of you doxing me in the titles of your spaces. And I said, like, this, when he says shit like this, you don't know if he's just fucking with you or if he's, like, doesn't remember, because they've doxed me for years now. And I said, remember when it was just Rogers coin and you guys were doxing me? That was him and Fred Rogers. And he gets all capital letters, all crazy here. He says, I've never attacked anyone. Anyone, look up my account, all of it. Well, here's something about Rotary underwear and me and Rotary. I don't know. That's kind of a goofy attack. I mean, I ain't crying about it or nothing, but that's just one of the many attacks. these guys have launched against me, including all the doxing. I think I show it here. And I say, bro, until you are willing to admit that crap, I'm not really going to talk to you about it. You've been doxing me in spaces for years. Like, there's no way to go forward when you're just denying it. You got to meet me halfway. And at this point, I was willing to kind of talk to him, honestly. But he's just lying. He's just treating me like a dumb fuck. And he says, when do you ever see me harassing or attacking or making negative comments about anyone? I don't really give a fuck about that. You can be a nice guy, you can be quiet, but you're a convicted woman beater who pulled a lot of good people into some bullshit, and I think you deserve to get exposed for it. It has nothing to do with how nice you are. You've been making up lies for years. Again, there's no lies. He's a convicted woman beater. And then I say, you're panda. You guys do nothing wrong. I know. Impossible to have a conversation with. Then I say, Tyler Jackson, stupid motherfucker. Because that was just one of the names they used to dox me with back in the day. Um, and I thought he might like kind of like be like, "Ugh." And then he says, I literally do nothing but try and lift and support everyone around me. Bro, you plugged Fred Rogers into this community. That guy is the biggest menace that has ever come across. Even members of the Tupa crew will admit it. Like, dude, that guy's fucking dangerous. If people warn me about this guy. He would speak openly again in spaces about young girls. Everyone heard him. He would blame it on his Ambien. Logan would never call him out. That's another thing that made me start side-eyeing these guys when I joined the community. Fred Rogers would get all fucked up and start mumbling and slurring, and he would start talking about teenage girls and making creepy comments. He said he preferred teenage girls, like literally, just said it. And the next morning, everyone would be kind of whispering about it because they're a bunch of cowardly bitches. And he would blame it on his Ambien. He'd be like, "Oh, I took my Ambien again and got fucked up." He did it like 2 or 3 times in Logan's spaces, and that's like Logan's ride or die. So it seems to be a theme with this one little group. Larry, Kimball, Logan. And he says he only lifts people up. And then he says, "Does this make you feel good?" And I say, well, you incriminated everyone with that hard drive, Logan. Like, we know PDFs can be nice guys. Larry was a nice guy. You loved Larry. And he was part of a CP ring. Larry was sharing literature with people based on incest discussions. He was into that type of stuff. And you were buddies with him. And look what he says. This is funny. He says, oh, I gotta rewind a minute. It went too fast. He says, no, I didn't. He was a creep. And then he says, I'm glad he's dead. Look at that right there at the top. He says, I'm glad he's dead. And I said, yeah, I know, bro. I know. What was on the hard drive that's worth 10 G's? This is when I start asking him questions, actually, and he won't answer them. So I just start asking him, what was on the hard drive that's worth 10 G's? And yeah, but before I go into more of that, I'm gonna show this as proof. This is when he was offering $10,000 reward. It says, in hard cash awaits the skilled sleuth, able to retrieve the hard drives, intact and unscathed. And then it explains that that Lily girl says that somebody sold it to people who wanted dirt on Logan. So he lost control of this hard drive. This was the other Lily that he was shacked up with in the domestic assault situation. She held on to his hard drive as like a ransom situation, and probably told him I just gave him some bullshit. Like I gave it away. Leave me alone. And he was scrambling around for months trying to find this hard drive. It was never like explained why he didn't back it up on the cloud, but it was a space where they all called me liars and said that I made this up. They never offered any rewards for this hard drive. And another thing that always bothered me is he trying to get someone to go break into a house? Like, how do you retrieve a hard drive like intact and unscathed? This is another thing I said is, well, there's agencies out there that specialize in cyber crimes and this type of thing. Why don't we email them and employ them to go get the hard drive? And when there's nothing bad on your hard drive, they'll give it back to you. And he doesn't seem to think that's a good idea. You'll see that here in a second. So he says, I says, wait, okay, this is hilarious. Look at this shit. This is one of the things that cracked me up. I say, what was on the hard drive that's worth 10 G's? And he says, what hard drive? There is no hard drive, TJ. And then I say, you posted about the hard drive, you lunatic. And I was getting ready to send him the ransom thing. Like, dude, you can't lie now. And then he says, I can tell you what was on it. Will you believe me? Right after he just told me there was no hard drive. So, like, how do you even continue to converse with the guy after this? Like, who's being disingenuous? Like, immediately, there's no hard drive, and then I'll tell you what's on the hard drive. And I say, and then he says, will you believe me? And I say, no. Why would I believe you? And he says, I've literally never lied to you. Just like he's telling me he never doxed me, and a minute ago there was no hard drive. I said Kimball already talked about what was on it, so did Lily. He said, why would you think they would know? Okay, this is interesting too. He says, why would you think they would know what was on my hard drive? That's insane. Well, if you go back over here to this is why I would think they would know. He says right here, a close friend of theirs, Gustagoo, that's Lily. So he seems to think they know what was on it right here. So is it insane to think they know what's on it? She says right here, it was dirt. It was dirt on Logan. That's what was on it. So what the fuck is he talking about? That's why I think Lily knows what's on it. But that's insane. That's what I talk about with gaslighting. Like you're nefarious, dude. And then I say you Kimball said you guys were sharing weird pee, then reneged, and Lily said it was weird revenge pee, and Shane says it was CP, and you have a history with modified pee. It's your thing. The history was when they made the images with Ocean. And he says, I can say you have weird pee on your hard drive. Does that make it true? I'm not out trying to make a hard drive disappear. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I say, I'm not retarded. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be using that word, but sometimes it gets going. Trump's America. I said, I never had a hard drive held over my head by my ex I beat up. Like, it's Apple, it's not the same scenario. You just throwing a flyer out there and me giving a screenshot of the hard drive you're trying to cover up and saying, what's on this weird hard drive? Like, what the fuck, dude? Uh, and then I say, I never went on a campaign to make a hard drive disappear. Like, so you can't really use that against me. And then he says modified P, what? And that somehow makes me a CP person. I never did either. So dude, look, he tells on himself. That makes me CP that I'm making modified P. And then again, like, I never did that either. And I'm just like, I know, bro. You guys are completely innocent. I know. He said, this is when he starts going on. He says, I never touched my ex. She beat the shit out of me, you idiot. And like this dude, I wasn't fighting with him. Like I was just telling him what my theory was, the reasons I thought these things. And he starts calling me an idiot about his wife. And then he said she said so herself. Why don't you clip that? And I say, clip what? I've said from day one it sounded like you guys were in a mutual fight. And he won't even accept that. He says it wasn't mutual. Do you even watch my videos? I was in the spaces. I was around back then. While you were space wanking through all of it. Like I was hanging out with you guys back then. You can't gaslight me. I'm not Heather Birdie. I'm not gonna lie for you people. You guys have been awful. Like, uh, and then let's see. And then explained you never even argued it. And then, yeah, that's space wanking. And he says, listen, this is about his ex. A crazy lady trying to rip my balls off and biting into the side of my leg, and I'm the one who beat her up. The crazy things you chose to believe will do you no favors. And I grew up saying, I say, I grew up getting beat up and watching my dad beat my mom up. I don't play with women beaters. Period. If you're putting yourself in that toxic situation and that shit is happening night after night and it escalates until you get arrested, I'm not gonna fuck with you and I might expose you for it. Sorry, not sorry. She has no hard drive. The reason why I put up a reward for the hard drive was because Lily told me a lie too. So why did he just say, this is what I'm talking about, them changing the story constantly. They're always switching it up. He was just saying there was a hard drive. Now again, there's no hard drive. So he's saying that Lily was lying and just trying to scare him, I guess. And I said, you should have left. And then I just say, okay, bro, you knew what was on that hard drive. Also, you guys haven't changed your story again. And he never acknowledges that. Like you just changed your story again. First, there is a hard drive, and it's all your puppy pictures. Now there's no hard drive, and then he switches it to she's an evil, manipulative bitch. Assume everything she says is a lie. So then he starts attacking the girl, victim shaming. I've never changed my story. The truth is the truth. You've changed your story several times, bro. You just changed it in the DMs. Um, yeah. Let's see. I say I won't bring it up if your stupid friends leave me alone. That's what you idiots don't get. Like I try to explain to him again. You guys keep using this to weaponize against me. That's what keeps bringing it up. He explains he doesn't control what others do. Well, I never said anything. I didn't, and then I didn't think was true. This is me trying to be like, dude, just get over it. Like literally just get over it. Like I believe there's something shady going on with all this and you're not going to convince me. And I said and I can tell by the reaction there was much more to that hard drive. You had the whole Tupa crew doing damage control and trying to track down this hard drive. And I called it illicit material from the beginning. They were the ones who started adding all the extra words to it. And he says wrong. I have my videos on YouTube. You can go watch them. But and I say I think it connects most of y'all together. I think they were sharing these goofy videos around. So if depending on what is considered illicit material and this and that, yeah, they're all guilty if they were sharing those files. And he says again, you're making up more stuff based on lies told you by Lily, creating whole narratives of fiction all based on lies and illegal ones too. And you're not on probation, are you? I don't know why the fuck he did said that. I said, well, how am I making it up? How am I making it up if Lily's telling me and Shane's saying it? Like, it can't be both ways. Either I made it up or they made it up. Like, Literally everything you're saying is not true. And I say, I've never been arrested as an adult. And then I say, you know that. You doxed my juvenile records because that's all you could find. And he said, literally, blah, 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 blah. Again, more lies. I've never doxed you. Don't care and wouldn't do it. He's obviously doxed me in his spaces. I've already showed that. I'm against doxing. And I explained to Shane, and Shane told him while he was in jail, was saying what was going on. He spilled the beans. And then he said, you told you told me Lily told you. There were several people talking about it, bro. Like, you think that's why it's so stupid for you guys to act like I'm the bad guy. That I created all this. It was being talked about in spaces for weeks, months. I'm just the only one that like doesn't have a filter and ain't afraid to confront you on it. Everyone else is cowardly. You know, they'll say things behind your back, and then when Logan confronts them in person, they'll start walking it back. He says I'm not a convicted woman beater. He pled no contest. I explained to him that's damage control. And the Shane is a coward. That's why he doesn't say it to his face. And then I tell him that's guilty, bro. Pleading no contest is guilty. And that I would never plead no contest to crimes against women or children. I don't give a fuck what they were hanging over my head. And and then I asked him, where were you gonna get 10 grand? He doesn't ever acknowledge it. He says Shane is a coward for choosing not to believe lies he was told, but you're somehow not for believing lies told you by an evil troll and furthering the lies with more lies, attacking innocent people in a criminal manner. Your logic doesn't hold up. Okay, bro. And then I say, wait a minute, there was no ransom now? You guys are changing your story again? He says, no contest is not convicted woman beater. So he says pleading no contest gets you out of a conviction. And that can't be farther from the truth. Pleading no contest means you're not pleading guilty, but you don't want to fight in court. It's almost like a plea agreement. You're not convicted in court. You're not found guilty in court, but you're a convicted woman beater. You're convicted of the charges. Once you plead no contest, you're convicted. So this is people not understanding what the fuck, you know. They lie, and a lot of dummies just buy it because they don't know how the law works. Again, she was the aggressor and tried to destroy my life because she's an insane narcissist that goes around having, listen to this, goes around having orgies with random strangers in random places, doing drugs and doing other crazy shit. So he starts attacking the girl again, victim shaming her. And I explain, like, yeah, I've never changed my story. Stop dodging. I'm close. And then I say, I'm close, aren't I? It's the agency post on you. And I say, dude, I am talking to people. And he says, what damage control? And I'm saying, why don't we just let them do their investigation? So, right here, this is me saying, if you have nothing to worry about, what's the problem? Why don't we just contact one of these cybercrimes agencies, have them go talk to these both Lilies, track down this hard drive, and if there's nothing wrong on it, then you guys can call me a dumb fuck. That's basically what I'm saying here. They'll talk to Lily. They'll if it and because it's too confusing for me. Marie said I should turn it over to the professionals. No harm, no foul. Why don't we turn it over to the professionals? Let them go find your hard drive. That's basically what I'm saying. He says again, I have zero worry about ever being found out for illegal material because it was never a reality. You were fooled by Lily because you're a simp. Or I don't know why. She has tons of men wrapped around her fingers for some reason. He thinks I'm friends with this Lily girl, dude. I talked to her a couple times that right after it happened, and that was it. I've never spoken to her. I wanted the real truth because I was hanging out with these guys at the time. I was spending a lot of time in their spaces. And after it happened, I wanted to know if I should continue hanging out in these spaces or not because I have integrity. So I talked to both Lilies. Again, put forth the evidence to the pros and stop harassing people online. That's what I'm asking for. We'll talk to one of the agencies. That's probably the best bet. I agree, but instead you're going to try and get them to get evidence for you since you have none. What? They can't get evidence if there's no evidence there, bro. No, I show him the ransom and be like, is this suspicious? This guy lost his hard drive. His ex-girlfriend was holding it over his head as dirt on him. Well, you guys go check it out. I mean, what's the problem? Yeah, I say. So go tell everyone I didn't make anything up, bro. This is a way to offer a truce. Like go tell them that Shane made it up and that I just kind of, continued the, story, but I didn't make anything up because that's what they used to cancel me on UFO Twitter. TeeJay made stuff up about Logan. Apparently I didn't. He's naming what, two, three, four people that are saying the exact same shit. I said I just heard it from him and several others. Heard what? And then I say the evidence is the ransom screen. It's your own words. Hey, look at this. Look at this. Again, him lying straight to my face. Ransom screen. What's that? And I'm saying you offering 10 grand for it. And he says, "Oh, well, the offer still stands." And then I'm saying it has dirt on you. That's saying there's shit on it. Like what? He says this is where he tries to explain it. And look what I say here. I say this is important. I say, where was the money gonna come from? You borrowed money to get home from UFO Twitter. He was begging money from people because he didn't have money to get home after he got out of jail. And he all of a sudden had 10 grand that he was offering for this hard drive. Where was that money going to come from if somebody showed up with the hard drive? He never answers. He just kind of rambles. He says his whole life was on the hard drive. And I ask again, who offered to help pay the 10 grand? And I say, you're the smartest tech guy. It doesn't make sense. He says, all the work I've ever done, all my family pictures growing up, all my literally everything. He never once mentions where the $10,000 was going to come from. And then I say, so she deleted your cloud files? This is interesting. He says this right here. Uh, he says, was all on that hard drive, TeeJay, and now it's all gone, and there's no copies. And why? Because my ex is an evil bitch. So again, he tries to blame the victim from the case. Um, I say, so she deleted your cloud files? Like, I'm giving him a chance to explain right here. And then I say, you guys play with Jess, who is clearly also an evil bitch. That's kind of funny. He says she traumatized the hell out of me. He plays the victim. Something has taken me years to recover from, and you sick fuck are still keeping that horrible pain alive. So it's my fault and her fault. I hope you're happy attacking innocent people based on literally nothing but lies. You're sick, dude. He seems pretty upset at that point. And then I say you're a grown ass man. Here I I have about as much sympathy for you as you guys have had for me when I'm getting teamed up on by all you dumb fucks in these spaces. When UAP Mike saying it's hilarious my dad died a couple days ago. All that shit. I have about as much sympathy for your problems as you guys have for Gabe and his problems. And he says I don't hang with anyone, you blame me, blah blah blah. Uh this guy, him and Fred and these others have been the worst to deal with. So I don't know why he thinks he's like in the clear on all of it. He wants to like butter me up, so I'll back off. It's the tactics flip flopped from attacks to dude, we need to just talk. You're held responsible for your actions. Blah blah blah. Oh, and again, I remind him. Estimate brought this up, bro. Estimate asked him, "Why do you think this about UFO Twitter and Logan?" And I answered it. But he goes, you're held responsible for your actions. I'm not going to lie for you, dude. That's my opinion. That's my theory on the situation. I'm not lying for you. If someone asks me about it in a Twitter space, I'm going to answer. You're not my fucking friend. You're a convicted woman beater. Uh, He said something about Lily. She'd be. Oh, he tries to say that. Why would Lily be in my DM showering with me with love afterwards? So then he starts trying to say that Lily is like still in love with him and somehow that makes it okay. These guys have been so manipulative with these girls. They'll do them dirty, like Kimball leaving the girl at the UFO convention because he didn't get laid. And then a couple days later, they'll pressure them to come in a space and be like, no, I'm not mad, so nobody else should be. UFO Shane did the same thing to the Kristen girl. The one that he catfished that tried to unalive herself and they were all making fun of. They'll, afterwards, when they get heat for it, they'll bully these girls to like make a statement for them. Almost like the abusive prick tactic, like tell everyone on Twitter you're not mad at me. I'm getting a lot of heat for the time I beat you up. And he's trying to use that tactic. The fact that he's made amends with this girl makes it better. Well, it doesn't, bro. Doesn't change a fucking thing in my mind. It's sad, really. It's sad that you're still bothering that girl after you got convicted of putting hands on her. Let's see. I told him he was getting worked up. But I said I was on the bus. I wasn't ignoring him. Guys, I'm not gonna get through all this. We're gonna have to do a part two. I'm gonna wrap it up here in a few minutes. There was one last thing I wanted to get to, but we're gonna have to do a part two here. We'll probably have to do it tomorrow night. Um, I manipulate Noah, and he goes on another rant. Uh, she said it was a grand conspiracy. And I say, let me see. I said, so I found it interesting you mentioned that Panda harasses me. Oh, this is yeah, let me scroll it back up. Panda harasses me and you tell him to stop. That's what is frustrating about y'all. You know what the others are into. Shane knew what you were doing. Panda is running a harassment army, but you guys do nothing. You attack me and KMF and Ray and LP. It's like your slime keeps you all together. Is that a fair statement? And you never explained why you didn't use the cloud. You never explained where the $10,000 was gonna come from. And then you just called your battered ex names. Like you didn't explain anything. That's my response. And he said, "Why do you keep saying I attack people? When do you ever seen me attack anyone? That's BS." For the most part, Logan does his dirt from the shadows, doxing. He's got Fred Rogers to do a lot of his bullshit. But honestly, the some of these guys, the only people they've ever attacked is me that I've seen like publicly and in DMs like this, and it's because I think I'm the first one to challenge these UFO Twitter gatekeepers in this way. They've never really been challenged this way on YouTube where everyone can watch it. It seems to be flustering them. Let's see. You're all part of the same team, and again, you have been doxing me from your spaces since Rogers coin, you idiot. Like, quit lying to me. You do it on socks. Again, I'm not one of your retarded minions. I just showed you a screenshot of you doxing me. Why do you keep saying that? He says, I have tapes of her confessing all the horrible shit she did to me and how the claims she made were lies. Would that be enough to convince you? I say, you and Fred and a couple others are jiggy. I used to creep on me in Lilden spaces. This is where I explain why he's jiggy. And no, again, him convincing that poor girl to make a statement for them would not convince me of anything. It would make me feel bad for her. Why do you make up so many fantasies about me? There's only like two, bro. And they're not fantasies. You have mugshots from the whole story. How is that a fantasy? Bro, I didn't make up anything. Shane, blah, blah, blah. Shane, dude, we're just going in circles. Shane, oh, this is interesting. Shane has told lies and has since it admitted they were lies. So Shane lied about you being involved in CP? Well, why aren't you guys attacking him? Like, why aren't you guys going and harassing him? Like, it's okay for Shane to tell lies? Your guys are an army. I'm one drug addict. Y'all are pathetic. Imagine what I could do if, like, I had my shit together. Yeah, or some support behind me. Yeah, until he's mad at you guys again, then he's saying it again, just like Somber says. Why didn't you go after non-cred when he was saying the same stuff in Paul's space? He said, stop saying y'all. And then, but your little hate group knows what it looks like. And he says, well, I feel sorry for you, man. It's a sad existence to be a drug addict. So that's again, like, yeah, any kind of agency or authority is what he seems to really be worried about. Well, I feel sorry for you, man. You're a junkie. And I'm saying you're offering money for a hard drive, but can't explain why you can't use the cloud. Like, just explain that. What else would it be? Anyone who knows the internet knows what that means. When someone is afraid to use the cloud, but it means a lot to them, why? Everyone knows what that's about, besides clueless UFO Twitter dummies. You're just lucky you're on UFO Twitter with a bunch of clueless morons. And he said, why I can't use the cloud? Do you have everything backed up to the cloud? And I said, I'm not offering 10 grand for it, you idiot. uh, he says he doesn't put his information on the cloud because of the CIA. The CIA doesn't need to see my puppy photos. That's what he says. That's why he didn't put in the cloud. I'm saying harvesting everyone's voices and shit, but you don't know how to use the cloud. And then I said, because your hard drive has illicit material on it. It's got questionable shit on it. And he says, your hard drive has illicit material on it. I say that's the only reason someone is afraid to use the cloud, but goes to this type of link to chase down a hard drive. And he's like, are you serious? Did you not just see the director of FBI just had his cloud released on the internet? Dude, if it was just your puppy photos and shit, why would it matter? I said, nope, it was important enough for all of this, and 10 grand, you would have backed it up. It makes no sense. Makes zero fucking sense. And he says, I had physical backups. I didn't need a cloud. So again, he's changing his story again. All of a sudden now he's got physical backups. So why is he offering the ransom? And I say, so why the ransom for 10 grand then? How do you not understand that? You said you had physical backups. It's like, what do you mean? Like, he's just going in like a confusion loop. And then I said, so I'm curious who said they would help pay the 10 grand. Fred, I'm assuming. What I'm wanting is him to tell me. Like, because if he names people that offered to chip in, whatever's on that hard drive, they're associated with. I'm not going to say anything else about it. If your entire life was on a hard drive that you thought had been destroyed, but potentially could be out there still, you wouldn't do everything to get it back? And I say, my kitty photos and stuff? No, I wouldn't be offering 10 grand. I wouldn't have beaten up a girl and gotten thrown out of the house, like, either. Like, I wouldn't have ended up in this situation. No one's ever held a hard drive over me as blackmail. So I've never been that's never gonna happen to me. He says you're a clown, you're harassing me. Why harass me? And I say because I want to reset UFO Twitter. At this point, I'm getting a little annoyed with him. Like, I'm being pretty obvious about it. I want to sweep all the scumbags out of UFO Twitter so the decent people can, talk about nerd shit in peace. And I said, you guys had your fun. Like, I want to move you all out. It's time to back down and let some other people run spaces for a little while on UFO Twitter. And he says, how can you reset anything? No one likes you because you make up lies. And this is the onslaught. He starts an onslaught here. And then I say, well, I mean, you could always fuck her off. Like you could just fuck her off if it's that bad. It is a solution. He says, if there was any truth to these allegations, why am I still around? Because UFO Twitter is pathetic and you guys did a hell of a lot of damage control to suppress the truth. And I say that you guys ran a rug pull. Jess extorts people. Somber uses, self harm to manipulate people. And he says, "Oh, you're the victim." And yeah, pretty much. I whine about a few things. And he calls me a pervert for some reason. Not sure why he called me a pervert. That kind of came out of nowhere. I say it's hard to understand. And then I explain I don't even watch porn. It's I don't know if I'm just kind of weird, but I've never really liked pornography, and even as like when I was a younger guy, it just always kind of it was the exploitative nature just always bothered me. So I don't even watch regular porn, let alone any kind of other porn for this guy to be calling me a pervert. Yeah, you won't find anything on my. I use window captures all the time, and there's zero chance of like a search or anything popping up that would be embarrassing. I don't look at anything like that. So he's just fucking throwing nothing at me, but it gets worse. Um is that why my ex hightailed it out of Twitter and was never seen again? Dude, you beat up a girl and you're saying that she never came back on Twitter and that's why you're right? What the fuck are you talking about? She could easily get rid of me, which is interesting. How could she easily get rid of you if there's nothing on these hard drives? That was kind of weird he said that. She could easily get rid of me. How? Dominating you on Twitter with your scumbag friends. I know dozens of people that left because of you guys. Money Penny's the recent female that's been talking about leaving because of these guys. Ray, LP. She could easily remove a couple clicks of a mouse. And I'm like, dude, I don't know your ex. I don't know why she hasn't exposed you yet. I'm assuming she uses it to keep you the fuck away. Like as long as I got this, he stays away. That's been my kind of assumption on it. But she should probably turn it over to the authorities. Harry's cried again. You're an idiot. She beat the shit out of me, threw all my belongings away, made false allegations against me, tried to set me up to go to prison, and put my dog in a shelter, leaving me stranded in Mississippi. Again, I was in the spaces. Like, I lived through it. I know what happened. He tries to, like, tell me what happened. Uh, did I tell him? I was there, bro. I was there. Like, you ain't gotta tell me. You ain't gotta fill in the gaps for me. It was a saga. I explained to him that it was a saga. And I tell him, I never said she was the full victim. It was a mutual, toxic, dangerous, violent relationship. He says, get a reality check, dude. She did some really evil shit. Really illegal shit. I don't know why he's trying to put all the blame on this girl now. So she hightailed it out of here out of shame. The reason I stuck around is because I did nothing wrong. Simple as that. That's fine, bro. You can have your theory and I'll give mine. Make up whatever excuse you want, but it's all right there for you to see my story. Blah, I don't know. I'm gonna let the Cybercrimes Agency look into it. I already told you that. I've had enough fucking with this guy at this point. And I say they're pros. He says, look into what? I said I genuinely want to know. And then I explained, I imagine they'll probably contact Lily's, and if this hard drive's still out there, they'll analyze it. Um, And I tell him, he's like, well, what would they be? What research? And I'm like, you're gonna have to ask them, bro. I don't fucking know. And he said, I didn't want that hard drive to disappear, you idiot. I wanted to make it appear. And I said, why did you guys send cops to my door? They swatted me one time when I first started game streaming. But I'm hearing now there's somebody in the Tupa crew that's in all their group chats that's telling me stuff. And I heard they were joking, and it's Fred Rogers doing a lot of this shit. I guess they had my court papers from when I was getting evicted from my house. Yeah, they're giving me dirt on the group chat. They were all laughing, and dude, they were acting like it was a win. I did a video about it called TeeJay getting evicted. It's on my YouTube still. He says, why aren't you responding? And I said, what if I bought it for 10 grand? And then I said, you needed to get that hard drive back because as long as it's floating around, it's bothering you. He says everything I've done, blah blah blah. Again, it's my photos. It's just my photos. And then he says you're weird and perverted for turning it into some CP sex ring conspiracy. Makes you look like an obvious fool. Nah, I didn't make this up. This came from Shane and Kimball talking about weird pee and people telling me that they've sent them weird pee. And then I go on a little. I'm getting annoyed at this point. All right. So give me 1 second here. Okay, and now he's saying that she did go through the cloud and deleted that too. You know what? I did have things in the cloud. Talk about adding to the story. And then I say, what's all the people that live in Panda's propaganda farm move on? And then I said, you think I'm crazy, don't you? And he says, you are the most creepy dude on the platform, and everyone knows it. This is a bad look, dude, attacking innocent people with illegal slander that pushes anyone away. I see people talking about how disgusting you are right now in the group chats. My goal has never been to befriend or impress these disgusting people. If this little group of goofies on UFO Twitter despises me and shits on me and holds spaces and cries about me in the group chats, music to my ears. I don't know why he tells me that kind of stuff. I love it. I tell him that if he saw my DMs, he would cry. And I explained to him that he can come on my show. I invited him to come on Felony Talk and do an interview, and we'll talk about it. And he says nobody likes my show, and lie I made up that he beat up a woman, and then this is why people never follow me. And I say, "Oh, you're hurting my heart, bro." And he says, "The things I say I can back up, you can't back anything up. That's the difference." And I say, "You have a Twitter so important to me. Please don't hurt my feelings." Uh, he said again, he's just ranting that I spread lies. I said you need a support system of 50 something people to back you guys. I'm one fucking guy. Um, I've been taking it all for years and I've survived every bit of it. I still survived and my crappy little YouTube channel continues to grow and y'all can't handle it. That's such a loser for you to have. And then I say, I've been on my own, taking everything you pansies can dish out, and I'm still laughing at y'all growing my YouTube channel. And he says, do you hear yourself? I'm saying, showing the truth about you over Twitter, and I'm going to keep doing it. What have I dished out? You're the one attacking me. So again, he's just going in a circle. I tell him, you're all in the same group. The Rogers Coid crew. What's up, y'all? Felony flock. We're gonna wrap it up around 2 hours, and then I should be about halfway through it. I thought I'd be able to get through it quicker, but there's a lot. Uh, he says, yeah, he's basically saying we're not a group, even though we attack and move and think as a group. Stupid retard loser thinking. You wouldn't even still be holding spaces if the Tupa group didn't run damage control for you. He asked why would he have gotten canceled? The Larry stuff, most likely. They actually held a space and they explained to him why you can't platform Larry's, and people were able to come up and vent to him. It was kind of like Tupa's racist Reddit post, like damage control space. But like a couple days later, he was back in spaces with Larry. So he says, "I don't care about your YouTube. I hope you keep making more." And I'm like, "Okay, dude. Thanks for the support, bromo." He said, don't stop. And I'm like, bro, thanks, man. The more evidence of your targeted harassment, the better. And I said, see, we came to an agreement. He slipped that one in before it posted. We break off here for the day. I spam him. Um, this is me posting and showing him that he doxed me and explaining why I think he's Fred Rogers. That's him doxing me. Again, you're barking up the wrong tree. I defended Dandy. I talked to him about trying to cancel Dandy for playing a video game. Um, they said something about IQ, blaming. So you thought I was bullshit? Because Panda said he thought it was bullshit. The stuff about Dandy, Panda told me in DMs one time that he knew it was wrong and that he was gonna talk to Tupa and they were gonna stop spreading it. Immediately they were back to spreading it again. He says here him and Dandy are good, but later on he makes more allegations against him. So. And then I say, I never made anything up about you. I just asked you about it and gave my opinion, blah, blah, blah. Just because you think something is true doesn't mean you have the right to speak it aloud. Yeah, it does. I'm allowed to give my opinion on my social media platforms. That's what they're for. Yeah, this stuff all happened on UFO Twitter. You made it public. He says he's holding me responsible now, so somehow he's flipped the script. And I explained again that I was just trying to hang out in that space. Estimate brought it up once again, and he distances himself from Estimate. And then look at this shit, bro. This is crazy. I don't know if Kimball actually said this or if he's just like throwing shit at the wall. But I explained to him, look, dude, Estimate asked me, why do you think these things about Logan and UFO Twitter? I answered, and he said, Kimball told me you dress up as a woman and do gay sex chat online to pay the bills. I believe that's true, even though I haven't seen evidence. Dude, I didn't see that shit when he look at it in real time because I'm not even paying attention half the time to the stuff he's saying. Uh, And I kind of blur over it. I say, dude, I had no reason to start shit in Ursula's space. I was trying to be cool with them, her and Marie. You guys basically ambushed me, and that was what happened. And he says, I'm not going around saying in public, though, am I? About me dressing up as women, I guess? I don't know. So this is when he starts making these allegations about gay P. And I said, they asked me and I answered. So go talk to Estimate. If you want to cry, go cry to your friends and tell them to quit weaponizing this bullshit. And yeah, give it 1 second. He says you again just he never gives. Uh Damage control. You all have had a lot of practice. You have zero evidence. A mugshot is not evidence I beat a woman either. Again, a mugshot when that you were convicted. The mugshot when you were still not found guilty, you could say that about because everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But once you pled no contest, you were found guilty. So then you're a convicted woman beater. So he's just blowing smoke up my ass. And then he calls me a fed for some reason. Uh, this is damage control because you're a fed. I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, I'm a fed? What the hell? Like, they call people feds. It's one of the last resorts. And I say, you pled no contest. He says I was never convicted of anything. I never admitted to anything. That's debatable. What it means to plead no contest, it's debatable. But you accept the charges. It's on your record forever. Like he has domestic assault on his charges, like in his record. He tries to act like he's a UFO Twitter lawyer. I'm not gonna engage in it. Oh, look at this. You plead no contest when your ex attacked you all night long and is fixing to destroy your life and your dog and you need to get out ASAP. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. And I say, yeah, I guess. This is me just trying to end the argument. I've never been charged with beating up a girl, never came close, so I don't really know, bro. Like, I don't know what's the way to lessen the impact when you get caught beating up girls. Like, that's your field, that's not mine. And then I said, I had a girl who would bust me up. She punched like a man. And that was the one that accused me of being the kid to her dad. I had a kid for a couple years and found out he wasn't mine. And she used to punch me, dude. She hit me while I was driving one time, and it never crossed my mind to put hands on her. I distanced myself. Women make bullshit claims like this against men every single day. He seems to be a real woman lover, doesn't he? And men get charged with shit they didn't do every single day. You're an idiot if you don't realize that. I listen to you guys fighting mutually in the spaces. You can't do that. I've said from day one it was a mutually violent relationship. I don't know why you're beating this dead horse. He won't even meet halfway. Like, yeah, that was a real toxic relationship. And I said, yeah, I even give him a bone. And I'm like, yeah, she seemed pretty nutty, bro. Most of them are around here. Oh, look, I defend women. My best friends on this platform are women. Well, it's because they don't know the truth about you. You guys destroyed me for openly discussing and giving my opinions on things that happened on UFO Twitter. That's the issue here. Because I wouldn't cover shit up like the rest. And he says, I don't care, you're sharing your opinions about whatever you want. The issue here is you slandering me. I've said from day one, these are my opinions. I even used the word allegedly until he pled no contest and was convicted. I'm not bowing to the gatekeepers, I explained to him. I informed you. I have evidence to provide. You would listen. Again, they try to get me to join this stupid space. I'm never joining your guys' dumbass spaces. Knock that shit off. And what I saw was one little group controlling and puppeteering all the drama, terrorizing people like LP, but then crying foul if anyone sneezed at them, and it made it easy to talk shit to y'all. He's saying Lily lied, and it's all Lily's fault. Dude, he's like throwing all this drama from these women like that fixes it. I don't even read them because I don't give a fuck. Like I do not care what his like the current situation is with him and these crazy girls. All I know about is what happened back then. I don't know what happened with y'all. I even explain it. I'm trying to move on from YouTube drama on my show. But I can't even join a fucking space without that shit thrown at me. Why? Because I openly gave my opinions on what happened? It's bullshit. And he's saying, what's bullshit is you can't even stand on the things you say. I stand on the things I say more than anyone else. I record all my spaces when everyone else deletes them. My DMs are always open for anyone to DM me, just like this. I'm the only one that's willing to even talk to these fucking guys about this shit. So, yeah. Um, oh, Panda subscribe? Thanks, Panda. What's bull? Is you can't even stand on the things you say, blah blah blah. Bro, I don't trust any of you. I'm explaining again why I'm not joining his space. I explained that you guys only want me to join this space when you have it set up like some kind of ambush. Fuck UFO Twitter spaces. I'm not dancing for you clowns anymore. Quit trying to get me to join your dumbass spaces. And I tell them right here, I could go delete everything I've ever said about these guys. I could make a public statement saying, guys, I may have been wrong. I may have assumed. I could apologize. And the minute they were bored, they would be back in a space talking shit. So why the fuck would I? And he's kind of hinting that he wants to make amends. He brings up how back when they tried to like bring me into the friend group, I tried to coexist a little, but I found I couldn't. Also, it cost me one of my closest friends on the app. We were both trying to distance ourselves from this type of dirtbag and these wankers that live on UFO Twitter. And I started to kind of mingle back with these guys. And because everyone wants to grow, everyone gets frustrated, and I lasted like a week. I think Panda kicked me out of a space because I talked shit to Heather Birdie, and that was the end of it. I was blowing up shit. They didn't want me around, so I'm never gonna fucking fit in with these guys. Don't accuse me of shit that you do. I've never done any of the things that you're talking about. I don't know why you're saying that. He's really worked up. Never muted it and talked over you. They're trying to get me to join this space again. I've never kicked you from my space. Just come in, bro. Oh, now he's saying he could make me co-host. They're doing anything to get me to stumble into an ambush. And I'm saying, I'm not ignoring you. I'm working. I'll think about it. And then he keeps asking about Somber. And I say, I don't hang out with these morons. I don't know what that dude says. What the fuck you talking about? He said something about Somber. Somber's another one when he gets drunk and mad at these guys. He tells on them. Kind of like all the ufology SWAT clips over on ufology SWAT on YouTube. Any ones with Somber where he's been drinking, he rants and tells secrets about all of his friends, and that's what I was referencing. He thinks there's like a specific or something. I would be open to this. I'm not afraid of the conversation. Again, for some reason, he refuses to admit that he's doxed me, even though I've shown him a screenshot of him doxing me. Like, why? What is the point of that? Like, and I'm explaining, dude, I sent you the screenshot. You're hosting the space. You're doxing me. What don't you understand about that? I don't know why he won't admit that. He talks about the Jiggy account. If it did ever go at these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if he um if fabricated it. These guys will fabricate little drama beefs. Um, I explained. He asked that he's not bad because he never made a lot of money off UFO Twitter. I explained to him that he was a crucial part of the Rogers coin rug pull. Then he tries to get me to come into space again. He says, "Come into my space right now, bro." Oh, this was the one called intellectual murmuration. This is interesting because that's the one where they sat in there and talked about Gabe's brain tumor the whole time. Intellectual murmuration. And they sat in there and dunked on a guy going through a health crisis. For that one went for a long time. Look, 1 day, 0 hours. That's how long it went. A whole fucking day. Here I am. I explained to him I never participated in his spaces before. I'm not gonna start now. I'm okay with all them disliking me and they need to just get over it. He tells me I got daddy issues. And tell them they're incapable of accepting that they deserve this, that they've ran rug pulls and bullied people and gotten away with this bullshit for long enough. Yeah, I tell him that, people know. So what's he worried about? Nobody cares anyways, dude. You're a woman beater and people still chill with you. Who cares? Why do you care? UFO Twitter doesn't mind. They're cool with that kind of stuff. So, like, what are you worked up about? Damage control, blah blah blah. I'm trying to get him to block me. I've had enough again. I'm a serial killer. What weird AIP? I'm not a convicted woman beater again. We're going in circles. There's one thing I want to show that we're gonna end it on. And then there's gonna be a round two. I'm like halfway through it. A lot of the better shit's gonna be in round two. We'll do that tomorrow night. You ever think that maybe you're the one with the serious shash? I'm fucking with him here. He says, "Do you ever think that it's you? You're the problem?" And I say, "No, never. I'm a god." And then I explain it. I'm actually a goddess. They, them. And any decent person would have issues with what goes on here. There's just no other decent people left. I'm more stubborn and don't really have kids or any real responsibility to worry about, so yeah. And and then I said, you guys even thought you guys said I had a kid with a 15-year-old. Back when I was criticizing Rogers coin spaces, one of the things they did is they held a space said, TJ has a kid with a 15-year-old. What the fuck? And this was one of the first times I realized what these guys were about. Panda co-hosted it. Tupa was in it, and that's me saying. I said, news to me, I got a baby somewhere, Logan. And then I say, you gotta laugh sometimes. And because he remembers holding those spaces. They made up some story about me having a kid with a 15-year-old at one time. Never, what the fuck? They just pull shit out of their butt. And he just says, just take more drugs. Oh, and here's where it gets interesting. So, I heard from a credible source you did gay pee online to pay bills. Again, gay pee allegations. And dude, I cracked up when he said that shit. I started laughing so hard. Just to the, like, pathetic levels that you're stooping. And I said, dude, I was legit laughing so hard. And he said, I don't judge. And I said, that one is definitely true, bro. Spread it. I'll laugh. And I said, only bottoms, though. That's the only rolls I do are bottom rolls. I'm a receiver, not a catcher. And he says it's already out there. I'm not the source. So what he's trying to do is implant in my mind that somebody is telling people that I do gay pee for whatever reason, like that this would make me, I don't know, like ashamed or embarrassed. I don't fucking know. I don't care what these people think. But when he says I'm not the source, I don't know if he's talking about Kimball or someone else. He's just trying to fuck with my head. But that's the tactics these guys are using. And I'm just clowning him. I say, "You're so smooth, bro. You got right in my head." And he says, "I believe it's true." And then he says, "I know it is." And I say, "Now I gotta go clean up my gay porn like you did Roger's post." And he says, I don't care if, and then I say, I don't care if you think I did gay pee, Logan. Like, you can tell everyone you want I do gay pee. Doesn't bother me at all. And he says, LOL, what? I never deleted any Rogers coin posts. He deleted most of them. They're very hard to find. This guy's posted them every day for months, and now they're tough to find. They go through and sweep up their scams. So another blatant lie. Why would I? And then I say, I know, either did Tupa. He never destroyed his, he never deleted all his either, even though you can't find them anywhere. And he says, are you against crypto? And I said, Fred Rug, it was a rug pull, bro. Like, we're not, and I said, you helped Fred Rogers plug in. It's all you care about, you guys ripping people off. And he says, have you ever heard me talk about money in a space? Weird claim. These guys hosted the Rogers Coin Spaces for months. Logan was crucial to it. Somber, Tupa, Fred Rogers. These were the people who put it on. Doomer Daddy. They're the big accounts to spread it. So to say, like, we've never been involved in money, you pulled a fucking crypto rug pull. What do you mean? And then I explained, you guys were helping ignorant morons create socks like that. Yes, you have talked about money and bullshit in your spaces. He just denies it, of course. I explained to him that if what they did is they convinced these crazies and pathetic lonely people on UFO Twitter that it was like this crowdfunding club, and that if they bought into Rogers Coin, they were part of the cool kids club. And if these people knew what these guys were really like, they wouldn't want to be part of that club. Like, the guy's a fucking woman beater. Who would want to be a part of that club with these creeps? It's because they put on these images, the mask, the nice guy shit, and none of them are the real people they display in these spaces. That was when he first started doxing me, was the Rogers coin. It wasn't even any of this shit. It was when I was criticizing Rogers coin. That's when they first started doxing me. I say, yeah, I know you're an innocent baby. Try to get him to block me. He won't. And he says he knows nothing about that. Oh, look at this. Um, you guys making fun of Gabe for having a terminal illness? Is that what's happening? You guys are evil. And he says I know nothing about that. That was that entire space. He was hosting it. The intelligent murmurification one. We went over it in a video. So again, just blatant lies. And he says, sucks for him though. Can't say I care. And I explained that you were hosting the space. What do you mean you don't know anything about it? I told him I'm gonna send it to other podcasters, and people are gonna see how disgusting these guys are, and the somebody going through a cancer or dealing with a brain tumor. It doesn't excuse you from getting trashed on for it. from this crew. And he says I have nothing to intimidate him with. It seems like he's pretty frazzled. Yeah, I was pissed about the game shit. Yeah, I said, for what? To make a young guy who is dying feel worse about himself? And he says my friends are disgusting losers like me, and um, nobody cares about us because we're disgusting pieces of shit. And basically, I was just asking, like, why is it okay for you guys to make fun of a guy for having a brain tumor? Dude is literally dying. If one of you wankers were dying, I would try to make amends, because I'm not trash. And you loved Larry till death. Which he did, Larry. He was buddies with Larry until the day he died. Probably cried. He says he made make your bed and lie in it. You know nothing about accountability. And this is where I wanted to end it. We're gonna go ahead and leave it off on this. Logan starts threatening that he has a documentary coming out. I have my own documentary about you coming out that's 10 times better than anything you ever done, and is going to reach 100,000 times more people than you ever could. Enjoy. So that was the final threat for this episode, part one. We're gonna do part two tonight, and he keeps coming back to this threat. That he's got a documentary in the works. Even though nobody cares about me, why would you make an entire movie about me if nobody cares about me? And so I just clown him a little bit. I say, I'm sure it's full of Rogers coin memes. And then I explain, you guys aren't creative. Without the losers around you, you guys don't have anything. So, other than fabricating information, like, dude, go make your documentary. All you're gonna do is send viewers to my YouTube channel. Uh, and he's saying, like, he starts like saying, like, I'm working on it literally right now. Like, that's gonna scare me. All you know how to do is tear down, get a grip. After he said all that crazy shit to me, I'm just asking him, like, why are you clowning my friend for having a brain tumor? And he's attacking me, saying they're gonna spread rumors of gay pee and calling me a junkie. Yeah, it's just wild. The next segment is gonna get a lot more frantic with his threats, and he starts threatening lawsuits, and also he mentions that there is a wealthy member of UFO Twitter that is paying them to do this. And yeah, that's another one I was kind of hoping to get to. But we're gonna save that tomorrow. So in the next segment tomorrow night, he drops a lot of secrets. He says things speaking for Panda a few times that I'm imagining are gonna fluster Panda a little bit. Like I said, he talks about how there's a wealthy member of UFO Twitter that I really pissed off that is paying them to get even with me. He talks about how his documentary, they're gonna lie and make everyone think that I do gay pee. He makes more allegations about beating up. He says I beat up a young girl. Uh, at one time, he says that they can make UFO Twitter believe anything. He seems to get a lot more frantic in the next segment. So this one was the early ones when he was still trying to play it smooth. The ones we're gonna go over tomorrow night will be the ones from like yesterday and today, and the guy's been acting like fucking crazy. So yeah, let me pop back over onto the felony talk. This is just a little side project I wanted to do because I'm not gonna be launching um, my new project until Monday night, but I want to let everyone know what the plan is with that. Monday night I'll be putting out it's gonna be real similar to the UFO Twitter nightly project. I'm just dropping the UFO part. That way we can cover all of Twitter. And there's a lot of spaces going on like goofy, goofy white supremacy spaces that we could laugh at. So I kind of want to broaden the horizon. There's another Allies of Humanity cult space that went down with O'Leary, and we got that to go over Monday night. So Monday night's episode is going to be really good. It's going to be Twitter News Nightly. Should go live around 9:10 p.m. just like normal. Probably go for an hour and a half to 2 hours. But I will be back live tomorrow night to finish part two of the Felony Talk, TeeJay versus Full Spank Logan. And yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it off with this one. Don't forget that TGA is a danger to all on UFO Twitter, putting out those mugshots and letting people know. Everyone that came in and hung out and added it to the chat, really appreciate it. Hopefully, people show up tomorrow for part two. It'll be better in part one, I promise you. And if you haven't subscribed and liked and all that crap, please go do that. And anyone watching back, if you want to support financially to my content creation career, one thing that really triggers these guys the most is people putting money in my Buy Me Coffee. They rage about it. They read it off in their spaces. If the people are in the space, they bully them. So if you really want to piss these guys off and get to them, that's one way you can do it is throw a few bucks in my Buy Me Coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/TJ Felony. You can also do it anonymously. Just leave your name blank. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Be good to each other. I'll be over on X at Felony Talk on X. I'm sure people are going to be blowing up my DMs. So see you all later.